Mysterious creature floats in a river near a village in Indonesia. Measuring at 23 meters long and 4 meters wide, it is said that many people were going missing when they went into the river. The villagers believe this creature was the problem.
What? Since we're already here, here's some more nightmare fuel. According to the comments, this type of creature is completely unknown to these types of waters.
There is so much we don't know.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy JetskiChucK back with another creepy and scary TikTok that might just change your reality. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're new around here, well, guess what? You're lucky because I got so many other bangers you can go back and watch. We talking about all types of stuff that's interesting and I'm sure you want to enjoy. But today, we're going to dive deep into underwater, see what type of creepy creatures, treasure we can find under the depths of the ocean. They say only so much has been discovered. Well, we're going to be on these dark waters, seeing how much more we can discover. So follow me. Let's go.
My God, look at the size of the thing.
Oh my gosh,
And I'm taking a movie of it.
I did. That is enormous.
So are they trying to permanently beach themselves? Oh, we're going to go in again.
I believe that fish is extremely rare. An oarfish, I believe. That was nuts. Have you guys ever seen something like that? Let's go.
Right there, I'm trying to bring it in, zooming it in, right there it is. It's huge. Thing's like 20 or 25 feet long. Never seen nothing like that before. There's all the cops, lifeguards. Right there it is still. Yep, everybody's running out there trying to get their video cameras. Look at it, right there it is.
It was so close.
I'm new at this live thing, first time I've ever done it, so I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong. Here comes more cops. Police is now making everyone leave the beach area. Looks like some people's giving him a hard time. Here comes the helicopters in, looks like. PA system saying something, not sure exactly what's going on. Police looks like they could possibly be, what they're doing. There's two people out in the water acting like pure nuts. Ain't no lifeguard. Right there it is, see it? Phone's going dead.
I think it's getting close. That was indeed interesting. What do you guys think that was? Let's see what else is in these waters.
There you see on it.
What is that? Like a giant starfish or something. It's like a baby kraken.
you're swimming at the beach and see this thing, never dive into it. At first glance, you might think it's a large plastic bag that has sunk to the seabed. In reality, this is a peculiar deep-sea creature known as the pyrosome, also known as the unicorn of the sea. The pyrosome is a giant pelagic creature that lives 200 meters below the sea. Its body is like a long pocket, with an opening at one end that can be up to 1.8 meters in diameter. An adult could easily fit inside its body. When you realize it's not a plastic bag, but a large worm-like creature, aren't you startled? But what I need to tell you is that it's not a single organism. Instead, it's a complex of thousands of individual entities. Simply put, this is not its real appearance. It consists of thousands of pyrosomes. How do you feel now? A bit creepy, right? Its actual appearance is hard to stomach, so we'll discuss it at the end of the video. The reason pyrosomes cluster together is mainly that living in groups greatly improves their chances of survival. It's a form of adaptation through biological evolution. Since each pyrosome feeds on small plankton, they continuously filter water for food. This large pocket acts like a filtering net. They ingest seawater containing plankton, consume the plankton, and then expel the filtered water. To put it simply, working as a team is way more efficient than working alone. An individual pyrosome is less than a centimeter in size, but when combined, they can reach up to 18 meters. There have been instances where divers captured pyrosomes measuring up to 30 meters, which is extremely rare. Lastly, let's have a closer look at its real appearance after magnification. What do you think it looks like? As pyrosomes can respond to surrounding light sources, they also exhibit different colors when combined. So if you encounter a pyrosome in the sea, would you want to dive into it?
Wow, that is incredibly interesting. A pyrosome? This is my first time ever hearing about that. And they get up to 30 meters long? Man, can you imagine scuba diving and you come across one of those? I'll be a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. But let's see what else is on these waters. I look like a satyr. Let's see that one more time. That was nuts. I never seen one on like a camera like this. Real or not, it's the first time I have seen one. Satyrs. What is that? It's like some type of alien tarp.
Most terrifying video I could find on the dark web. A group of friends were walking in the forest when suddenly they heard a noise above their heads, and as they looked, this is what they stumbled upon. The ending will surprise you.
Lo está manejando, lo está manejando.
is that thing on his back? What's wrong with him?
My jelly peace. Get the sweat, these taste that. And the sweat, these taste that.
Let me swing. What's wrong with bro, man?
My jelly peace.
This is the closest thing to what we think the Kraken would actually look like. This is the giant squid. In 1976, the USS Stein. This is the closest thing to what we think the Kraken would actually look like. This is the giant squid. In 1976, the USS Stein was attacked by an unknown species of giant squid. And in 1978, the rubber coating of the sonar dome was damaged by multiple cuts over 8% of the dome's surface. Nearly all of the cuts contain remnants of sharp, curved claws found on the rims of suction cups of some squid tentacles. The claws are much larger than those of any squid that had been discovered at that time. This is the Slenderman of the ocean, and it's even creepier than Slenderman. This video is taken from deep down in the Gulf of Mexico and shows this alien-looking squid. This is a very rare type of squid and grows up to 20 feet long. They slowly swim and drag their long, creepy tentacles across the sea floor, and when they touch something, they snatch it up. What if you could flip your skin inside out to where your body part's on the outside? Yeah, that would be stupid and gross. But that's what the vampire squid does. Only this creature isn't a squid, but looks like an octopus, but yet isn't even an octopus. And it's not even a bloodsucker, but it gets the name vampire squid because of its webbed arms that look like a cape. Anytime it feels threatened, it opens up its arm to show these spines to deter predators. And if that fails, it expels a shimmering cloud of bioluminescence and vanishes in the thin air. This is the closest thing to what we think the Kraken.
Speculating that it's possible that octopi had come from somewhere else. Some frozen eggs had actually come from somewhere else and landed on Earth. And these are like legitimate scientists who are contemplating, not morons.
So panspermia doesn't have to be unlikely.
Right.
I mean, for example, you might have
Sure.
seen the other day we found an Earth rock on the moon.
Yes.
Well, it's back
Yeah.
on Earth now because the Apollo
Right.
astronauts brought it back, didn't they? It's 4 billion years old or something like
One
that.
of the oldest rocks ever found.
Yeah, so we know that material gets transferred between planets. And so it's not inconceivable that microbes could survive that journey. We know that microbes can survive in space, for example. So that isn't mad. But with the octopus, I hadn't heard that. But the thing is that the octopus is still extremely similar biologically to us. I mean, the differences are negligible. So it's still got the same energy system with a single ATP and DNA and all that stuff. It's all very, very similar. Yeah, so
Although so alien as well.
they're not, though. You know, that's the thing about an octopus. That's why I'm surprised about it, because they're not that alien. They're very similar. You look at an octopus cell in under a microscope and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Right. There was
Be careful if you ever find a seashell on the beach. If you're not careful, you could accidentally pick one up with an octopus in it. Octopuses love to hide in abandoned seashells for protection and to hunt things like crabs. And follow for more ocean videos. Be careful if you ever find a seashell on the beach. If you're not careful, you could accidentally pick one up with an octopus in it. Octopuses love to hide in abandoned seashells for protection and to hunt things like crabs. And follow for more.
This is why you should never venture the ocean if you can swim. And even if you can swim in a swimming pool, it doesn't mean you can swim in an ocean. This is called a sneaker wave. Look at that. And when you enter the ocean, right, and the ocean is above your kneecap, if it's at your waist, you are gone. You are gone. You are totally gone. Look at that. The sneaker wave. And she can't swim. She can't swim.
Los salvavidas
She
en
can't swim.
acción, ahora sí los agarré.
They have to run. They have to run. They have to run. thing you should know is that the ocean is deceptive. It would lure you in and hit you so hard. So hard. Oh, you're invited. Ablajo. If you can swim, once the ocean is above your knee or is at your waist, I'm sorry, but you'll be gone. It will take you away. And by the time you realize it, the sneaker wave, it will hit you so hard, you can't even breathe.
It's the perfectly good coat.
This is the moment a group of divers spotted the world's rarest fish, completely covered in shark bites, usually found in the depths of the ocean. This fellow was found near the surface. Locals believe it only appears just before an impending earthquake. In an extraordinary encounter, divers not only got to witness the harbinger of doom, but were close enough to touch it. This is the moment a group of divers spotted the world's rarest fish, completely covered in shark bites, usually found in the depths of the ocean. This fellow was found near the surface. Locals believe it only appears just before an impending earthquake. In an extraordinary encounter, divers not only got to witness the harbinger of doom, but were close enough to touch it.
This man found the biggest treasure of gold in America's history, only to spend the last 8 years in jail because of it. In 1988, adventurer Tommy Thompson discovered the wreck of the legendary SS Central America, a steamboat that sank in 1857 with 21 tons of gold from the California Gold Rush. He was able to recover and sell $52 million worth of treasure, becoming incredibly wealthy. However, the investors in the recovery operation sued him for not receiving their fair share of the money, leading to a long legal battle. Thompson was mandated to return 500 gold coins from the wreck to settle his debts, but he instead completely vanished and became a fugitive for 3 years. But in 2015, he was found residing under a false name at a Florida hotel. He claimed to suffer from short-term memory loss and had allegedly no recollection of the coins' whereabouts. At 71, he's still incarcerated until he provides more information about the missing treasure. 18 tons of gold are still within the wreckage, waiting to create more stories.
Where'd they say that gold was again? No, I'm just messing with y'all. But it would be nice.
Images are stunning. Lying 3,000 feet down on the ocean floor off Colombia, what may be the biggest sunken treasure ever. The remains of the Spanish galleon San Jose, complete with its cannons. Fine china litters the seabed, along with silver and gold coins and chests filled with emeralds. The potential value, hold your breath, as much as $20 billion.
Our government decided that all that treasure is a national heritage and can't be divided, can't be separated.
Last year, the former president of Colombia said he wanted the treasure and archaeological remains brought to the surface.
So these riches can be made available to the world and appreciated through museum exhibitions.
While Colombia won't provide the precise location, experts say the wreckage is located right about there, south of Cartagena, near the Islas del Rosario. In 1708, the San Jose was headed back to Spain, loaded down with 200 tons of treasure, taken from Colombian and Peruvian mines using slave labor. But it ran into a British warship, which quickly sank the San Jose. Nearly all of the 600 people on board died. For 300 years, no one knew its exact location. In 1981, an American salvage company said it had discovered the wreckage, but the Colombian government declined to negotiate the salvage rights. Then in 2015, Colombia announced its own Navy had found the wreck in a different location, announcing plans to recover the remains and place them in a national museum.
This coin here was made in Bogota, Colombia. So it's a Colombian gold.
Brent Brisbane knows about Spanish treasures. In 2015, his team found another shipwreck off Florida, loaded with $4.5 million worth of coins. But the San Jose wreck, he says, dwarfs everything else.
There's a tremendous amount of value in the archaeological history and what can be gleaned there, but there's an unbelievable value in the gold and silver that's on this ship. When you're talking about going through an archaeological dig, you want to be as delicate as possible. And so to do that, it's going to be incredibly time consuming, more importantly, incredibly expensive.
Images are stunning, lying 3,000 feet down.
How much fun would that be? Going to go try to get some treasure, some real treasure, be on the treasure hunt? Man, that's exciting. That's a dream right there. I wonder if they get to profit anything if they catch it. I mean, if they recover any. What would you guys do if you guys had your share of that type of money? Put it in the comments below. And if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, because we stay on these dark water nines. Let's go. Looks like some type of bracelet. An amulet.
Oh! Be careful! Literally goes and bites his shorts. Yeah.
Every year, gold and silver coins are found off the coast of Florida by treasure hunters. And I mean pirate treasure gold doubloons are found off the coast of Florida. So how did they get there and where do people find them? This is the story of the 1715 treasure fleet and the treasure coast of Florida. In 1715, about a dozen ships filled to the brim with gold and silver coins, plundered from the New World, sank off the Atlantic coast of Florida. In one of the worst human atrocities in human history, Spanish conquistadors massacred and plundered tribes from Mexico to Peru and took all of their gold and silver and religious artifacts. Instead of bringing those artifacts back to Spain as they wanted to leave no trace of the culture. And so unfortunately what they did is they melted all of those artifacts down into gold bars and silver bars and turned them into coins. And so they either left them as bars or they turned them into coins. The vast majority of the coins found in these shipwrecks are called cobs, and the cobs were made by lopping off the end of one of those gold or silver bars, weighing the piece, and depending on how much it weighed, they would hammer it with whatever denomination. The silver ones are called reals, and the gold ones are called escudos. And so in what I like to believe was a little bit of karmic justice, all of those ships filled with gold and silver taken from those people, and all the sailors with them went down in 1715 due to a massive hurricane. Most of the shipwrecks occurred along this part of Florida. Most of them have been found, but some haven't been confirmed, a few of them actually. And so after every major storm event, like the hurricane that took down the conquistadors, tons of people metal detect along this part of Florida looking for gold and silver coins. Here's an awesome example of one, as well as artifacts the sailors dropped, like this incredible gold and emerald ring. Now, a lot is found by scuba divers at the literal wreckage sites. However, plenty is found by metal detectorists on the beach, especially after hurricanes. Just make sure to stay in between the waterline and the dunes. You can't go actually in the water on this part of Florida because of this reason. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and I thought you should know because every year, gold and silver coins are found off the coast of Florida by treasure hunters.
Hello, fellow coin nerds. Matt here again with the Coin Show podcast and Lost Dutchman Rare Coins. Today I wanted to show you something that came across my desk. This is a really cool piece, another piece from the Atocha. Check this guy out. This is an 8 reals silver coin, and this coin sunk on the Atocha. It was brought up, and then they put it in this fancy bezel here. It says Atocha right there at the top. But the cool part about it is it has all of its information, so you can check this guy out. And the other cool thing, Mel Fisher autographed this particular form as a genuine autograph from Mel Fisher. So cool piece. I just thought you guys would like to see it. Hope you enjoy this video.
Country finds a treasure worth $300 billion. A shipwreck worth $300 billion was found in the China Sea, but all of a sudden 2 nations claim to own it. The UK helped China in taking the precious items on the shipwreck out and later claimed that it owns a share. At that time, China was not able to do anything, so it helplessly gave its share to the UK. And after many years, China has finally proved that the shipwreck was China's property. But how did China prove it? Was it China's property, or did the UK own a share? Let's find out. Shipwreck was found in the China Sea that is worth $300 billion. The shipwreck named Nanhai is more than 800 years old, but it has not yet decayed. Many artifacts and precious metals were found on the ship that is worth around $300 billion. But after the discovery of the ship, a dispute between China and the UK started. The British consider this ship as their property without any evidence. But to find out which nation this ship belongs to, one must know the mystery behind it. Many centuries back, there used to be long silk roads all around the world. The routes were used for the transportation of trade. It helped China to trade with the entire world. And on one of the routes, a merchant ship sank. The ship was carrying a lot of precious goods at that time. It sank between 1127 to 1279. Keep the dates in mind, because in the end, it will help in finding whom the ship belongs to. In the 1980s, the ship was found in the China Sea in a survey. The explorers were amazed to see this undecayed ship. The precious items on the ship were still there. And after much calculation, it was considered that the items were worth around $300 billion. China wanted to take this shipwreck out, but at that time, China's technology was not sufficient to take the goods out of the sea. China needed someone's help, and it asked the UK to help China. The UK's technology was good enough to help. China spends a lot of money on the UK's team. The entire process cost a lot of money, and more than 400 million yuan were spent on the UK team. But after the precious items were out, the UK claimed the ship to be its property. The UK mentioned that the ship was on the route that was used to travel things from the East India Company to China. And as it belongs to the East India Company, the UK also owns a share in the ship. Now, China found itself helpless because the UK had the developed nation's support. The UK auctioned a lot of goods found from the ship and earned a huge amount of $20 million. Not just that, but it also became the world's most successful treasure hunter of the time. China was not able to do anything. All it could do was part ways from the UK and research on its own. China kept saying that the shipwreck belonged to them, but no one was ready to hear it. So the question remains, which nation did this shipwreck belong? There is much evidence that proves that the shipwreck was China's property. Firstly, the ship sank in 1100 to 1200, while the East India Company was established in 1600. That means there is no way the ship was carrying items belonging to an East India Company. The time of the incident proves that the UK does not deserve a share in the shipwreck, and for the efforts it made to take the items out, they were paid by China. At that time, no one was supporting China. In simple words, China had no power to stop the UK from stealing its property. Even if China had the evidence to prove that the shipwreck belonged to China, it was still not able to get it. Secondly, the items that the ship was carrying were made in China. Many artifacts belong to Chinese culture. That means the ship was traveling from China. It was originally China's property. The stuff that the UK sold was also sold as China's rare and old cultural items, but the money went into the UK's pocket. Apart from gold and silver, all the items belonged to Chinese culture, and the UK knew it very well. But again, due to its power, it easily snatched these items from China without anyone questioning. Lastly, the ship's anti-corrosion property tells a lot about its origin. In ancient times, many nations used to trade goods, but China's trade system was better than anyone else's. It had especially made routes for trade, and the entire world was using those routes. China is known for its trade, and making goods is not new. It has followed the legacy over centuries. The reason why it still relies on trade is because of its history. In ancient times, the people of China were as hardworking as they are now. And China especially used to make ships that were anti-corrosion. The ships used special metals that do not decay in water, and only China could make these sorts of ships. The shipwreck found in the China Sea also had the same properties. The ship can only be made in China, and this proves that the ship was traveling from China. The items as well as the ship belonged to China, and it was also found in the China Sea, so there is no way the UK owns any share in the shipwreck. But the question is, why did the UK steal this shipwreck from China? The UK not only earned a lot of money from the ship, but they also earned the title of being the world's best treasure hunters, even if they were hired to do it. This highlights the unfair use of power as well as the act of stealing other nations' artifacts. In the 1980s, China was struggling. It was working on itself to become what it is now. It has no power to stop the UK from stealing its items. The West has always used its power over countries, especially China. Many times China was attacked and was left ruined. The hardworking people of China rebuilt it again and again. China has always been a place of treasure, thus a favorite Western spot to attack. And the West was known for its loot. If you are thinking that China was the only target of the powerful nations, then you are wrong. Many nations are affected by the loot, and in some ways, some nations still feel suppressed. If you have ever studied history, then you know how powerful nations used to force other nations. The poor nations were not able to do anything. And even in 1980, just around 4 decades back, it was still the case. The unfair use of power was still there. And if you look at China today, you will understand why China is working on changing the world order. China's history makes it easy to understand why China wants to help the powerless and why it does not support the powerful unfairly. China knows exactly how the powerful nations use their power against the poor, and it is not letting it happen now. The West has stolen many pieces related to one's history. There are still many artifacts that are originally from other nations, but are sitting in Western museums. More than depicting history, these pieces tell about the loot of Western nations. It tells how unfortunate some nations have been in the past, and present conditions make a lot of sense. All the nations aligning with China to change the world order and keeping their distance from the West make complete sense. Since the incident, China has never worked with Western countries on exploring any ancient goods. It has improved its technology, and today China is saving its ancient artifacts with reaction. If your country finds a treasure worth $300 billion.
That is nuts. That is my first time hearing about that. It seems like the ship did belong to China, but I just wondered about the type of different artifacts that was on that vessel. Very interesting stuff. Man, this treasure hunting gets pretty deep. Oh, wow. Yeah, they're finding good treasure. The Spanish shipwreck. Man, who knew there's so much gold still laying from those shipwrecks?
So this is one of the coins that was recovered in the 1980s.
Okay, so
in 1857, it sank in a hurricane, and 425 people died on this ship. So it's really one of the biggest tragedies in American maritime history. So this is one of the coins that was recovered in the 1980s.
Okay, so big question. What do you want for them?
The 1838 Goldberg dollar, I would sell that for $27,000. And for the price, Proof 65 example of this coin would be closer to $100,000. So it's a really great looking coin at an affordable price.
You know, $27,000 is not really an affordable price to most people.
Yeah, I think that. Better than $100,000.
And what do you want for the shipwreck coin?
The shipwreck coin I would sell for $14,000.
This one, I don't want. It's a great coin. It might be a great price and everything like that. The thing I hate about coins like this, it's off a shipwreck.
In an 1850.
One step closer to resurfacing for the first time in 300 years. Bloomberg reporting Colombian President Gustavo Petro has ordered the recovery of the $20 billion treasure, telling the country's Minister of Culture to, quote, pick up the pace and pull the wreck off the ocean floor before the end of his term in 2026. But questions tonight about who can claim ownership of the treasure on board the San Jose, a Spanish galleon which sank off the coast of Cartagena in 1708 during a battle with the British Navy. Believed to be on board priceless artifacts, gold and silver, gems and jewelry collected by South American colonies to be shipped to Spain's king.
Es un triunfo mayor.
The wreck's exact location, a closely guarded secret. The Colombian Navy says it found the storied ship in 2015.
Constituye uno de los más grandes hallazgos e identificaciones de unidad.
But American company Sea Search Armada says it discovered the wreck in the 1980s, making a deal with Colombia to get half of the value in exchange for the coordinates. They're now suing Colombia, seeking half the value of the fortune. Colombia rejecting the company's ownership rights earlier this year. One step closer to resurfacing for the
Drama over the shipwreck treasure. Who's going to get it? But that's it for today's episode, man. If you made it this far, drop the 100s in the comments so I know you real. And if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. If this is your first video checking out JetskiChucK on these creepy and scary reactions, you're lucky because I got so many other bangers you can go back and watch. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone for tapping in to this video. We try to do these every day, man. I try to give you guys a nice video, a nice entertaining episode for you guys every day, and you know that's the objective around here. I hope you guys getting your smoothies in you like I told you to. Get you a frozen bag of fruit with some orange and apple juice and blend it all together. Get something inside of y'all. But hey, you tell them, Beam Beam. But that's right. I'll holler at you guys on the next one. Peace.